Ashley Hodge here alongside senior writer Will Vandervoort for the Clemson Insiders Monday Blitz. And Clemson is coming off a huge must-win win against NC State this past weekend. But today we talked to Cleveland Farrell about just how important the rest of the season is. You know, Clemson has these goals to win the very first game, win the division, win the state, obviously end up winning out the rest of the season. But now that it's coming down to the wire, it's coming down to those important games, it's the championship mentality, isn't it? So what did Cleveland Farrell talk about?
Yeah, you know, him and Christian Wilkins, they kind of got together. He said today, actually. So I guess it was this morning when they were doing film and doing stuff, weightlifting or whatever. And he says they actually talked about how it's that time of the year, it's championship time. Mm-hmm. And what he means by that is he was saying is like, you know, they played NC State last week for the chance to get control of the Atlantic Division. So that was like a championship game. This week they're playing Florida State. If they win it, then they are the Atlantic Division champions. So it is a championship game. And then, then they got the Citadel coming up in South Carolina, and to be the state champion, they need to win both of those games to be the state champion. So he says it's that time of year, and of course then you go on to the playoffs, and if they're in that position and you want to win either your bowl game or whatever that might be, Clemson's goal is always to win the last game, which that either means a bowl championship or a national championship. So it's championship season. And in doing so, and the reason that he brought all that up was because he was asked that it's called, this is the Orange Pants Week. Right. And the history and all behind that and what it means to them to wear that this week. So that's why he brought that up in that reference.
Yeah. A lot of the players talked about how excited they were to start wearing those orange pants, but not many people know what that symbolizes. They haven't worn them since they played Alabama in that national championship. So what is the significance of those?
Yeah, the orange pants, Dabo Swinney wears them in his sense because it's either a championship game or a big game such as like South Carolina, to where they wear those orange pants. And Dabo got that from what the history of it is. And Coach Danny Ford, he started it in 1980. Before they played South Carolina that year, Clemson was struggling at the time. They were 5-5, and he needed something to kind of lift the team's spirits up, to motivate them, to get them going. And so he brought out the orange pants for that South Carolina game the first time. And that South Carolina team was a really good football team. Had George Rogers, who won the Heisman Trophy that year, and they were going bowling already, and they were like in the top 15. And everybody said they were going to beat the tar out of this 5-5 Clemson team. And but Danny Ford, you know, they ended up coming out, warming up in the white pants. He told the team at the team breakfast, I believe, that day he held up the orange pants and told them what they were going to wear. So they ended up warming up in white pants, but they didn't put their pads in or anything. So they just wore the white pants out to warm-ups and stuff. So the fans had no idea what was going on. And so then he went back in the locker room. They changed into the orange pants, came out, went around the buses, and came up top of that hill wearing all orange, and the place went ballistic. I mean, the energy in the stadium that day was unbelievable. And, of course, they ran down the hill, and then they beat South Carolina 27-6. The orange pants began. And Danny Ford, by the way, I think was 14-2 in the orange pants during his career. So there was a tradition there. And then it started kind of, you know, going away a little bit, especially during the Tommy Bowden era, where they wore them like every week, you know, and it's like it wasn't, the significance of it was, well, Coach Swinney kind of, as he is a history guy, kind of wanted to know what the significance was. So he asked someone like me. I remember me and Coach Swinney talking about the tradition of the orange pants, and he asked Jeff Davis and some other guys, Sam Blackman, different guys that know that history, and they started talking about it, and Dabo found out what it meant. So Dabo went back to the traditional way which Coach Ford used them for, which is a championship game or against South Carolina. And so that's what he's done, and he's brought back that tradition. Last time they wore them was against Alabama in the national championship game. They obviously wore the all orange against Ohio State, remember? And then they wore the orange pants. They wore all orange against South Carolina, and they wore the orange pants in the AC championship game. So, you know, he's brought back to what the tradition's all about, and so it's a special uniform. Now, Kelly Bryant admitted he didn't know the history, so I'm gonna have to tell Coach Swinney that he needs to let the team know what the history is, because Coach Swinney knows what it is, and so there's a reason why they wear them.
Well, if the team doesn't know what the history is, then the secret to success goes beyond those orange pants. Obviously, starting with quarterback Kelly Bryant, and he had a very successful game against NC State. Actually ended up running more than the running backs on his own team, so very impressive by him. What did you see out of that game, and what can he carry on from that game into next game?
Well, what was good about it, his performance, was the fact that he started off the game very slow, had a bad start, was throwing high. he missed his first 5 passes. He was 2 for 8 for 17 yards. And the 2 completions in the first quarter was a great Hunter Renfrow climbed the ladder to make 1 catch, and then Deion Kane made an outstanding catch on the sideline. So he just wasn't playing really well throwing the football. But what he did do well, and what they started going to help build his confidence back up, was he ran the football well. And he ran for, I think, 20 carries for 88 yards, had 2 rushing touchdowns. But early in the game, he had a couple of early big carries that kind of got him comfortable, got him into the flow of the game, got him calmed down, got him back into his rhythm. And then the rest of the game, he went 18 of 30 for 171 yards and threw, of course, a touchdown pass to Deion Kane. So he settled down after that, kind of got back into rhythm. And what I think, the big thing about that was Kelly didn't play his best game. The defense didn't play its best game, and yet Clemson found a way to win the game. That's a good sign that I took out of all this. This team grew up at NC State. They were on the road. They didn't play well as a team. Their main 2 things they need to have play well every game did not play well, and yet they still found a way to win the football game. Kelly Bryant had a lot to do with that because he overcame the adversity. He didn't get down, and I know the fans were upset with the way he played and all that, but one thing you ought to be excited about was the fact his demeanor didn't change. He didn't get down and depressed, and I've seen quarterbacks in the past before Deshaun Watson that got down in those situations and didn't play well. They couldn't get it back. They were down the rest of the game, and the team followed their lead. Well, this team followed Kelly Bryant's lead in the fact that he didn't get down. They noticed that. They saw Kelly Bryant upbeat, staying with it, not getting depressed. And so they stayed with it. And, of course, they found a way to win the game at the end. That's the biggest thing they take into these next few weeks, because it's going to get harder and harder for Kelly Bryant. And I don't know if he can make those throws. But if they can keep believing they can make other plays and he can use his legs to make plays, then they got a chance to make a run because of Kelly Bryant and his ability.
Well, hopefully this week Clemson's quarterback situation and the defense are able to figure out just how to overcome all of that adversity from NC State. But keep up with the Clemson Insider the rest of the week as we head into the game against Florida State.